Okay, a lot of people get a bit surprised why this Gaudi designs this church here in the middle of the streets. Well, let me tell you something important, guys. 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, there was absolutely nothing here, only landscape, wild goats. And look at now, no chance to find a parking for your car. Well, the reason why they make the building up here in the middle of nowhere is because land was cheaper. Makes sense, right? The closer you get to the city center, land more expensive. And nowadays, the Church of Sagrada Familia gets integrated in the middle of the urban grid. Well, walking down here now, you can see that there's a lot of people having a drink in the terraces. And you will see there's a great atmosphere in this neighborhood because of the church. Okay. Actually, you know that the Sagrada Familia is the main attraction in Barcelona city. You cannot leave the city without visiting this church, of course. But let me tell you also something important. There are a lot of things to offer you here in Barcelona. So when you come to town, you can take you to all the different places to show you this beautiful city. Okay. By the way, remember that if you like the tour, tell your friends and relatives to come and join us. If you don't like the tour, don't say anything. Is that okay? No, because
Okay.
people sometimes say, "Oh, the tour was great. The guide was fun, but it was cold and rainy." Boys and girls, today you're sitting at home, okay? So no excuse for you to recommend this tour to your friends. By the way, you can see we're getting closer and closer to Sagrada Familia. Actually, we are in one of the corners. I'm going to start the tour in one of the corners of the church. Then we're going to walk on the back side. Then we will see the Passion Facade, the main entrance, and we're going to end up at the Glory, the facade that Gaudi did. By the way, you can see right here next to the church, if you're hungry, we can always offer you a lot of restaurants, and maybe you would like to come to this KFC, American International. Okay. Otherwise, you feel homesick. Okay, you can always have Burger King. Okay, I loving it. I'm sorry, those are McDonald's. Well, never mind. Well, as you can see here, one of the corners of Sagrada Familia, you see that still on with the cranes, still under construction. Why? Because to build this church is based on donations. Okay, so it goes very, very slow. Well, the thing is that when they start building this church, it was 1882. 1882. And to build this church, the locals here, the neighbors, were giving small donations. Okay, so it went little by little, okay, very slowly. But what happened? In 15 years ago, we celebrated the Summer Olympic Games in Barcelona. Remember those games? 1992. Now, you cannot remember those games. You were far too young. But what happened then? A lot of tourist people start visiting the city, and they pay a fairly big amount of money to visit the inside. So what happened? In Barcelona, we live 1.6 million citizens. 1.6 million. Well, 2019, before the pandemics, we received 8.3 million visitors. So you can imagine that it was a big business going on in here, okay? Well, the thing is that I'm going to start moving a little bit closer. I'm going to cross the street. So I hope I don't get hurt, okay? I don't get hit by the car. I'm going to look at twice.
Miguel, be careful, please.
Yes, of course. If I get hit, will be the end of the tour.
Exactly. So we don't want that. And then on the other hand, have you said how many people used to enter the church every year?
Well, I told you that we received 8.3 million visitors, remember? So 2019, we received 4 million visitors inside. The price of the tickets, 25 euros. So that makes 100 million euros. Big business, right? Well, by the way, you can see that we are now in the corner of the Sagrada Familia. I told you before that this is Gaudi's masterpiece, right? But the truth is that Gaudi didn't start the project. Not at all. It was another architect. And when they started building the church, he started from the backside. Why? Because when you start building up a church, you always start in the backside of the cathedrals, right? Why? Because the backside is where you do the service, the mass. So that's the reason why many cathedrals in Europe you have Gothic axis in the back, and then you have Renaissance, Neoclassic, Neo-Gothic style in the front. So the guy who started building the church 1882 wanted to build Neo-Gothic style. When you look at these walls here, it looks very much like St. Patrick's Cathedral of New York. Okay, well, when Gaudi takes the project, Gaudi says, no, that's far too boring. I want to do something more modern. I'm talking about a new architectonical style called modernism. Otherwise, we also call it Art Nouveau. Well, Art Nouveau, modernism, for you to understand, is a very short period of time. End of 1800s, beginning of 1900s. That's it. And what happened is that they use new materials from